Music's on point, everything's on point. It's just me, I need some work, but everything else that belongs to this club here is on point. So if you want to find a nice little place where you can just drive out of town and have some drinks, have some food, you can call, you can order your stuff and just take it. You don't have to stay. Or if you want to stay here, that's what's up. And of course, they have special events for Valentine's. You can rent a hall. You can rent a hall, honey. You can rent a hall for weddings, for birthday parties, to have a bash. I hope he edits that out. But whatever it is, this is definitely the place to be. So it's on Sideline Dam. You definitely want to ensure that you check this place out. But it's on your to-do list. All right, on your to-do list. This is definitely the place to check out, a really cool, chill spot here in Buxton. I like this. Buxton needed this. We needed this. I needed this. You definitely needed too. Thank you.
Comes out your son. You burn this swine when I want you shine. The tree of life, them I want.
You can get meat anywhere, but for the best cuts of chicken, beef, pork, mutton, and lots more, check out T&W Harris Butcher Shop, located in the East Rheinveld Market Meat Section. Call us on 609-7168, 641-4494. Ask for Rastaman. T&W Harris Butcher Shop for the best in fresh cut meats and lots more.
Crystals, party ice in large and small quantities. Call 682-7981 or visit us at Twilight, Sideline Dam, Buxton North. Easy Crystals, pure party ice. Run around like headless chicken. Go to Ashton's Marketplace for whole and cut chicken, beef, pork, processed meats like bacon, beef franks, smoked ham, ground pork, calabresia, and lots more. Ashton's offers wholesale and retail. Check them out. Call 613-2332 or WhatsApp 434-327-3955. Ashton's Marketplace at 72 Rock Street, Border.
All right, so today we are here at Club Twilight up in Buxton.
Good morning, neighbor morning. I am morning. Thumbs up if you can hear me clearly. Good morning. Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. Welcome back to the Guyanese Morning Time. It is the 30th of December in the year 2024, and it is 7:27 a.m. It is the eve of New Year's Eve, if y'all know what I'm saying. Y'all know what I'm saying, right? Good. It's the day before New Year's Day. Hit me up if you are hearing me clearly. Give me a thumbs up. One thumbs up. That will tell me that you are hearing me loudly and clearly. And while you're doing that, how about calling a friend, thank you, Cheryl, calling a friend, telling a friend that Mr. Amsterdam is back after the holidays. A kind of abnormal thing, right? I can't remember staying off here so long previously. Good. But call a friend, tell a friend that Mr. Amsterdam is back, Cam Stevie is back, Guyanese Morning Time is back, and share the link. Share the link. This morning we're going to, continue the programming the way we normally do it. Of course, there's going to be a little exception now. I know a lot of you got a lot on your stomach. You weighed down, you're being burdened by a lot of things that you didn't get to talk about in my absence. And so today I want to open up the lines, a la free talk Friday, but I know today's Monday, so we're going to free it up a bit. So you could talk your mind. I want you to be able to talk your mind. What is bothering you on this goodly Monday morning? Well, I was about to say the first working day after the Christmas holiday, but it's not the first working day after Christmas because Christmas was midweek. And then you had Boxing Day, and so you had a working day between then and now. Did people go back to work? I wonder if people went back to work. Good. But the thing is, how are you? How have you been? How was your so long ago? How you pass your holidays, people? I want to know how you pass your holidays. What made it special for you? What made you smile? What made you shrug? Right? Because there can be no sunshine without rain and vice versa. They don't come at the same time in most cases, but if you are accustomed to rain, there must be sunshine somewhere along the way. How was your Christmas holiday? I had a quiet one as usual. I'm not a Christmassy person like I usually see. I see pure commercialism and in many instances greed. That's what I see when it comes around to Christmas. People hiking prices on poor people. You're still tired, boss. Yes, sorry, excuse me. People hiking prices on poor people. People taking advantage on the already disadvantaged. People abusing the already abused. That's what I see many instances happening around the Christmas season. And so recently, well, not recently, for years, I've really not been into that Christmas spirit kind of thing. The excessive spending for Christmas and the excessive eating for Christmas and so on, and alcohol consumption and so on for Christmas and so on. I am always moderate, if I can even call it moderate. Good. But what did you do? I recognize, let's start. Oh Lord, it's Kwanzaa, right? Happy Kwanzaa, y'all. Happy Kwanzaa. Today I think is day 5. Naya, it's purpose. So today's watchword for Kwanzaa is purpose. And so let me ask you, what is your purpose? Why you there here? You just there boat? Like Deborah? Or you have a purpose, you have a reason for being here. There's something that the creators put you here to do that will change the world, make it a better place. What's your purpose? Right now, my purpose is to keep my people energized, aware, woke of all the wickedness of the PPP government. So y'all don't believe that I'm going to eat pepper pot and forget what my purpose is. My purpose is to make, first and foremost, Ghana a better place. And by extension, the world a better place with my presence. And so don't think I come in with a different message this morning, because according to one of our viewers, I had too much ginger beer and too much pepper pot and black cake and so on. And so it must fudge up my brain. Not at all. It didn't happen. And it wouldn't happen. Sometimes when I look around and I see the brightest among us, and I sincerely consider them the brightest among us, because they have that most important responsibility of grooming our next generations, educating our next generations, pointing our next generations in directions that can change their lives and the course of development in our societies. I shudder. And I'm talking here about our teachers. Sometimes when I look at our teachers, And I am forced to ask myself, well, if these are the brightest among us, if these are the people expected to shape the country's next generations, and the powers that be can ill-treat them the way they ill-treat them, and they can accept that kind of ill-treatment, what state are we in as a country? What state are we in as a country? Teachers are supposed to not only make doctors and nurses and engineers and teachers like themselves and lawyers and all of that. They're not supposed to only plant those seeds and help them to germinate. They're supposed to make some rebels. They are supposed to make some rebels. They're supposed to make some conscientious people who will fight for those who can't fight for themselves, who will speak for those who can't speak for themselves, who would defend the weak. But when I look around our society and I see the kind of abuse that these very teachers accept, I shudder. I shudder. I am usually ashamed not only for them, but I'm ashamed for our society. I'm ashamed for those who call themselves government and representatives of the people. It tears me up. Now you all notice what was going on in this country Christmas Eve Day. Can you imagine your educators being informed, mind you, your educators being informed by their subject minister that the cash grant that was supposed to be paid instantaneously and later 5 months after, and later to public servants first, those teachers were informed the evening before they were supposed to go and collect their cash grants by a social media post from their subject minister. A social media post by Sitaria. How is that professional? Let me start here. How is that professional? How is that respectful of our teachers? And there are rules that govern the way subject ministers communicate and ministries communicate and seniors communicate with their juniors and so on and so forth. Is there a line of communication? Should that information be filtered down to head teachers? Or let me start with regional education officers, who should then filter it down to head teachers, who should then have a list of their staff members, who they will then filter that information to. In this day and age of technology, every school, as far as I am aware, or most schools, as far as I'm aware, have their teachers in WhatsApp, in a WhatsApp group. And so that information is filtered to the head teacher. The head teacher then sends that information via WhatsApp to his or her charges to say, hey, the cash grant is going to be paid tomorrow. These are the instructions I've received from the district education officer or the regional education officer, who naturally received that information from the chief education officer. Matter of fact, the subject minister should not even be seen as making that announcement. unless it's a political matter, which is actually what it is. Because the subject ministers are political heads of these ministries. And so there's Secretary General announcing the night before that, hey, teachers must go to, first and foremost, break down at the Ministry of Education to collect their cash grant checks. And then when all the teachers, and listen to me carefully. Man, this thing frightening, it's sickening, it's moderation, it's fretful. And all the teachers threw their pride and dignity out the window. And they turned up at breakdown at the Ministry of Education. In droves, as we would say. Only to be disrespectful and then told that disrespected. Because they had to be out there like people, animals that ain't got owners. And then to be told, listen, basically all over run our facility here, y'all gonna go to St. Stanislaus College. And so yeah, they rush down there again like stampede, when animals on a stampede. And they rush down there again and they had to wait outside here for hours before the process got started or restarted. Kudos to those teachers who said, I'm not going to go and stand in any line, and I'm not going to go in any among any crowd to get any cash grant. Well, I hope you're understanding the disrespect, the lack of protocol, the disregard for protocol. Instead of the functional heads performing their duty, the political head usurps that role and does as it. Note I said it, not she, it pleases. And so this Facebook announcement and teachers went rushing down there. Where are the rebels among our educators? Where are the defiant among our educators who will say, not me, I'm not going and be in any crowd to get any cash grant? Why couldn't these people, number one, pay us through direct bank deposit? Or number two, send our monies to the school like they do with a cash grant for the children? Why couldn't they? Because schools are out? Yes, schools are out, but teachers need the money. Teachers poor. Teachers desperate for this money during the Christmas season. I am positive there's no head teacher who would have refused to open the doors of her plant, her school, to ensure that his or her teachers got their cash grant checks. And there have been many instances when teachers were called out of the vacation to attend to other matters. And so there can be no excuse for not choosing to utilize the schools to distribute the checks to the teachers. But the politicians have taken over the jobs of public officials. And what they do, they make a mess of it because all they focus on is political mileage. And our teachers are allowing themselves to be used as pawns and be disrespected by responding to these disrespectful instructions. Do you know how many teachers there are in Region 4? Do you know how many teachers there are in Georgetown? Which government facility, which ministry has the capacity to attend to that large a number of teachers on one given day. Okay, we want the teachers to come and make themselves political pawns. We want them to turn up in their numbers. So we can video them and have the NCN, the non-stop comedy station, NCN, and DPI. The depth on ignorance. Showcase our teachers demeaning themselves. Yeah, we want them to do that. Oh my, y'all couldn't say, all right, y'all come alphabetically. Y'all come alphabetically. If you're in the A's, we're going to deal with the A's on Mondays and A to, let me say, D on Monday, and then we're going to take from E to H and so on and so forth. So you reduce that disgusting display of our teachers being disrespected and being demeaned. No. We're going to use the cash grant system by sending the money to the school. They must come to this central ministry or this central place where we can plaster them on the media. And the teachers allow themselves to be so used and so disrespected in the name of we need the money. We need the money. I can't determine what your needs are. I can't, and I wouldn't attempt to. You must know what your needs are. But what I know they say, if you make yourself grass, ass gonna shit on you. Some people say ass gonna eat you. Some people ass gonna shit on you. But in short, if you make yourself grass, you know, grass usually grows flat on the ground, then people trample it. That is what our teachers are allowing themselves. Public servants too, public servants in general. I don't think they've started paying the general public services yet, but look and see what will happen. We need a class of people in this country that will be prepared, that will have the purpose, recognize the purpose of resisting the mistreatment, the maltreatment of citizens. I understand after all of the chaos, the question is now, wait until you get a call from us to come for your check. So for the disrespect, right? Let us do this whole Christmas Eve masquerade. Show them how desperately poor teachers are, so we could disrespect them in large numbers. Have them push and toggle each other and get angry and frustrated with each other and create enmity among themselves. On Christmas Eve day, to get a check which naturally they can't even use until after Christmas. And so these people were arguing that teachers were in need and teachers are in need, and so they got all right to go and allow the PPP to disrespect them to collect the check. How many of you teachers, I want to do a survey, how many of you are teachers that collected check that were able to cash the check before Christmas? Because after you finish spending hours in this stampede to get your check, whether it's in Stanislaus College or Brigham, then you have to go and join a line. Imagine thousands of people, even hundreds, even scores, even dozens of people turning up at the bank to encash these checks on Christmas Eve day. On Christmas Eve day. The bank would have been overrun. And in many instances, perhaps it happened, the bank might have been overrun. I know in Letterman and so on, they had similar issues. But I'm talking Georgetown. The bank would have been overrun with people there to encash their checks. And so again, it would have been a frustrating situation. And I am arguing many of you couldn't get your checks cashed on Christmas Eve day. And so what was the point of running for it? To collect a piece of paper to say PPP has given us $100,000 disrespectfully and we collect it after demeaning ourselves. And we still can't use it for Christmas to buy the new carpet that we said we would have bought with it, to buy the fridge that we said we would have bought with it, to put inside toilet like we said we would have done with it, to improve our living conditions like we promised that we would have done with it before Christmas, to show off to the neighbor that we could buy new blinds for Christmas. You still were unable to achieve any of that, most of you. And so the question is, did you need that money so much? Were you so desperate for that money that you had to allow these people to disrespect you like that? Christmas is come and gone. The money spent and done if you get it cashed. Where's your dignity? You have been disrespectful one more time. Disrespected one more time. When are our teachers going to lead by example? Set good example for our children as to what to accept and what not to accept from the powers that be. Y'all talk to me. Arietta said she didn't see the cane cutters, the Gaisuko workers having to go through all of that. From 2020 to now, the PPP has been paying their supporters quietly bigger money than $100,000. And they didn't get no big announcement, they didn't get no big tussle. You don't see them being paraded on DPI and NCN. You don't see it. And in all of this masquerade that I've seen over the holidays, with this one Halloween, and then 100,000, it's some black fools. I see an Indo Guyanese up to now in any of those videos. It's a set of black jackasses who unfortunately educate our children, and so you're teaching our children to be subservient. I love teachers. I will always say I love teachers. It is my first love. I've been a teacher since before my teen years, quite frankly. My first taste of teaching was at the Lessons Place at Barnwell Street and Millwalk Road, Buxton. I know the sacrifices that we make as educators. But talk about it, they got difference between educators and teachers. I've worked with a system in a time when they had part-time teachers. They used to be paid by the hours. Hourly rate. Next to nothing. Maybe $15 an hour, so much. And so I feel for teachers, but I also feel for our children and the next generation and this nation, that teachers have that, I would say, envious position of shaping. What could be more demeaning than a public official, as I said, brightest among us, having to sing praises for less than $500 on national television? And I'm saying again, y'all could go for it and prove me wrong. I know the PPP got their focus on this program. Y'all send me a video that got an Indo Guyanese doing that shit. What is wrong with our educators? What is wrong with our African Guyanese educators? As if the abuse is not ever enough. Today they're going to be paying pensioners. NIS pensioners. And they're paying them at the NIS local offices. So those of you who are on the East Coast, they will be paying at Melanie. And they will be paying at Georgetown. They will be paying, I think, at Breakdown. I'm not advertising for them. I'm just telling y'all as it is. I'm giving y'all information. But I want you to understand this. Yes, let me see. Georgetown, they will be paying at Breakdown and Winter Place. That's right there on Breakdown. You people know the NIS office there. And they will be paying at the Melanie local office. You know that too. If you're in Essequibo, they're going to be paying at Anna Regina Essequibo Coast. There's a whole big place. Right through the pay. Yaga. Lenore and Klein Podrine local offices for the west side. Fort Wellington and Myconi. That's the region 5. Region 6. And let me point this out to you. I hope, again, I want you to recognize this. Region 10, the Linden local office. Are you recognizing that in every region, I don't see region 1, but region 2 to 10, what they're using, the local offices, to pay pensioners this money? Do you believe the local offices have the capacity to deal with pensioners on a timely basis? And when I say timely, I mean in a way that they can just go in and go out. Huh? Huh? Y'all talk to me. I want to find that out. On a regular day you go to NIS, it frustrates the lifeblood out of you. On a regular day you go to any public office, as a matter of fact, it frustrates the lifeblood. And so here it is, we are asking our seniors, because once you're an elder, once you're an NIS pensioner, 60 years and older. We're asking our 60-year-olds and older to go and stand in line at the NIS offices across this country as of today to collect their cash grants. Isn't it true that these very pensioners on a regular will go to post offices across this country to encash their NIS vouchers? Couldn't it have been possible for those NIS checks to be distributed through the post offices? In my head, my NIS database would tell me where my pensioners are located. And since they have to go through a registration process, when they registered, I would have gotten their most recent address. And so I know that in Buxton, Tom, Joan, Harry, Dick, and Jenny are the pensioners. And so I separate their checks and I send them to the Buxton post office. And so Tom, Dick, Harry, Jenny, and whoever else I just called know that all they have to do is go to the Buxton post office and uplift their check. Maybe encash it right there and then. But I don't think post offices encash checks. The only postmaster or postmistress got good. So they accept a check from you, endorsed and so on, and they give you the money and collect a check and then they send it to Central to deposit. But wouldn't it have been more easy? Easier? Wouldn't it have been easier for small packets of checks to be sent to the varying post offices for pensioners to uplift them? And wouldn't it have been even better for them to do direct deposits into the pensioners' accounts? Huh? But no, we want this fanfare, we want this masquerade, we want this circus, we want to continue to abuse our citizens. Let all of them turn up at the NIS local offices for the cash grant checks. God forbid. But y'all listen out. How many pensioners might suffer from a heat stroke? How many pensioners might faint? How many pensioners might end up in the hospital because of excessive exposure to the elements of the weather? How many pensioners going to go through all kind of situations that the $100,000 can't help them out of? Yeah, listen on. And they got a timeline on it too. Between now and January 3rd, you're expected to collect your cash grant payments from the local offices. After then, you could sit down, cut back, and wait to see if they're going to come to your communities or when they're going to come to your communities to deliver their orders. You see, when our young people are not standing up against these abuses, the authorities are not forced to stop, re-examine their approaches, and change their ways. And so the abuses move on from our young people to our elders. From our young people to our elders. And so when we fail as a nation, the young and energetic fail to confront the lawlessness of any government, we will watch our elders and our youngsters suffer. Suffer for it. Around the world, Pakistan and all over, look around the world. It's not the old people fighting the fight for democracy. It's not the old people causing governments to flee their once coveted thrones. It's the young people. But our youths got to eat the food. Our youths got to get a hustle. Our youths are contented with the crumbs from the master's table. And so they ain't got no time with revolution. They ain't got no time with rebellion. They ain't got no time with confronting a government that is wicked to the elders and the young people themselves. They ain't got time with that. As long as the government, the corrupt cabal, can bless them with some crumbs off the master's table, they're good. And we curse them about it. But are we stopped and took a look at how we got there? How did we get there? How did we get there, or how did we get here? Where young people are so selfish and self-opinionated and caught up in self in every way you could think of. Because we as adults, we as the elders, in many instances failed to impart to them that fighting spirit. Who, me? I don't want my children go through what I went through, and so I'm going to give them the best with no effort from their part. They're getting reward without action. They ain't got to do nothing, and they're getting the best. Hey, I'm building a legacy. I'm building a legacy for my children. Well, hey, when they inherit their legacy, they're going to say reward for the labor. That's the lighter side of me. They're going to say it's reward for the labor. And so, in my mind, they're going to show more respect for it. They're going to remember what they went through helping their father to put this legacy together. I myself sometimes I'm I'm not ashamed of myself, but I am sorry for them. When I hold to work and I call any of them and say, yeah, come work along with me because I don't done work, sir. And so we working together. And so they understand the sacrifice that went into building what they will eventually inherit. Because they made sacrifices along the way too. The time that they could have get and hang with the boys, they didn't get the time because they've been walking along the old man. But no, wow, I went through, me father used to get me walking like dog. Well plant garden, I'm going to sell greens. Me putting me chair and them through door. I go walk like dog and plant garden and don't sell the greens so. When the children sleep until 12 o'clock and get up for breakfast and it's up on the table, I go do all the hard work and heavy lifting. And when they inherited, they don't know what went into creating that inheritance. And so when they broke, they sell it out because what my father went through, ain't supposed to go through. That's my simplistic way of analyzing why our children, our younger generation, don't give three hang about fighting this wicked government, about rebelling against this wicked government, about standing up so that Guyanese can get better and they can get a better chance at success and a better future. Because we have taught them that we're going to do all of the heavy lifting and just put it in the lap, blam, take it and go and wander it like the prodigal son. We got generation of prodigal children, man. We cuss them. We say all they're looking for is to come off the master's table and they just want the bread. But have we stopped and examined ourselves and asked how did they get there? What part did we play as parents? What examples did we set? Of course, there's the exception to the rule. There are many youngsters who are willing to go there and buck the system. And then also let's tell them, bye, be careful, y'all don't go up against this government. Y'all see how this government wicked. So some of y'all are some dog mouths. You break the fighting spirits of your children even before they can activate them. And so they think that the only purpose, remember there's a word for today for Kwanzaa, the only purpose is to sit back and allow the powerful to continue to be powerful and more powerful and mash them down. We are in an election year. The abuse is grand. It is getting grander by the minute. Are we going to continue to dissuade those who are willing to fight? Are we going to continue to allow our younger generation to just deb out and not stand up for the cause? What do you intend to do to change this situation? The abuse is getting from bad. Christmas Eve was the teachers. Today is pensioners. Who will it be tomorrow? I take your bet. The parents of Ali, and quite frankly, all the ministers of government, And many of their elder relatives will not spend 1 minute standing in a line to collect that cash grant payment, because the checks will either be directly deposited to their bank accounts, or directly delivered to their homes by some driver from the minister. I take your bet. You could turn a fly on the wall, but I'm sure that is what is going to go down. It's 9 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. The lines are opened. The lines are opened. Call and let's talk the thing. As long as I didn't put up the number, targeting 6225933. Call and let's talk the thing. Good morning.
Yes, good morning to you and to all my other black brothers and sisters. Thank God we make it for see Christmas. And we have to pray and hope that we make it for see New Year 2025. We are still in the old for the new year. Well done. That's why I always give this program credit and give you credit. Because the way you explain things to us, no other program and no other MPs and those who have leaders don't explain, take the time and explain things to us. Don't cut me off yet. And what you said, it is so right. It is so right, my brother. Let us don't forget the reason why he gave teachers them that. And because he wants the teachers to give like another chance. Teachers, be careful. My grandmother teach me one thing in history, a little boy. Don't be educated fool, be educated wise. The reason why he decided to take Mr. Winston Jordan knowledge for $100,000 for each 18-year and go up, because he say you will be able to win the young people for vote for him, because he could come next and say, look, I have been decided to set every household. But then I said in a quiet moment, I said, young people have to inherit this money too. Because they're all our Guyanese. If Jack, you know, he couldn't benefit from 18 years old, he would have never introduced Mr. Winston Jordan. And this brings me back to what my grandmother teach me. When you see one black man, one Kodi man that close to black man, as something you want to learn, something you want to know, and when you know it, you kill them, punish them, or kill them. And when I remember when Mr. Winston Jordan come out and talk, when he was working in the PPP government, and working in Ministry of Finance and help out Jack Dio. And then I remember Jack Dio sent police to lock up that brother, punish him. Then he said, my grandmother was, are you still there?
Yes.
Then he said, my grandmother is right. So tell me again, what could people love? They love power, money, land, and they love to kill black man. And now you see everything, my black brother, sister. Come next year, January, what we going to stand for? Just listen on program. And don't get up and put fire and smoke up in the air. We got to stop this abuse. God give us our hands. He included in our five senses. It's a reason why. It's to take ourselves, use our hands and take ourselves out of bondage and slavery. Come on, my brother and sister. This man, I'm going to preach a little bit. If we want, when I want my grandma, I always said, don't live in life by want, because you will end up dead in want. Live in life in needs. If we need better for our children, better for all Guyanese, from the wicked government in Guyana, We have to remember the story from the Word of God. This story, Flash Garden, tell us. The lady of the issue of blood. But she spent all what she have. And she couldn't get healed. But she heard the good news. Jesus Christ is passing by. He could be at Avenue A. If you want healed, go there. And our response, he said, I'm going to get my heal today. If I got to run and fall and get up and push myself through, whatever me got to do, I will do it today and get my heal. Black people in Guyana list of Flat Garden. And you got to push yourself to get freedom and come out of that slavery. Disrespect. Use the same story. Relay of Israel and push yourself, come next year. Put fire and smoke up in the air. That lady put fire and smoke, but she 2 foot. She 2 hand. And the beauty of it, I don't want to touch the natural body, the spiritual body. I just want to touch the hem of his garment, his clothes. Because the lady has faith. Because his clothes will carry that power. What will heal me? And that's all I want this morning. But I'm going to push my way. I mean, but Guyanese got to push their way. Come January. Enjoy your new year. But when you're 15, I ever start put fire and smoke up in the air and stop that nonsense. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your call. But Flash, let me remind you that these are modern days. We don't use fire and smoke to communicate anymore. That is what we used to do in the past. We got telephones and mobiles and so on. The lines remain open. 6225933 is the number to call. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. Right? Sometimes we have to interpret it for some people because they have their own spin on what you see. So when Flash talking about fire and smoke, I'm hearing in my head something else, but I'm thinking, listening to him, I'm also hearing something else. So these are modern days. We use different means of communication. Fire and smoke signals were used in when man was primitive. But man has been modernized. Man has achieved so much in terms of modernity that man is his greatest enemy right now. I think I love primitive man more than I love modern man right now. I might be wrong because I really or truly did not go and live and experience that primitive time as much as I experienced this modern time. But I would believe that there was more love because you had bartering, for example. You had to be in, you had to have good human relations to barter. Nowadays, this money makes the world go wrong. Caller, you on?
Hello.
Good morning. You're on, caller.
Kadaki, good morning.
Good morning to you.
I'm here to tell you what's going on at the quarantine.
Please do.
Kadaki?
Yes, caller.
I want to inform you, and I want especially
caller, hold a minute. You need to turn off the device you're listening to. Listen to the phone call. Talk to me on the phone. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Please do. We're listening. Hello?
I'm hearing you.
Yes, so speak to us now, please.
Yes. I want to inform you what's going on at Manchester Winifred Gaston Memorial Secondary School that was built by self-help. Gordon built that school by self-help. I could remember you was little, lime wash and bun. And I'm so hurt to know that Mustafa put one of his colleagues on the air to say only 90 students attending the school. From then, now they're telling us that the school was sold to X-Mobile. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. That is advantage on our Black brothers and sisters. I think Cousin Norma Stewart is rolling in her grave. That's really advantage. And I have a lot more to tell you about the land, what is going on in the current year. Don't worry, the APNU members, they're in hand with Mustafa. All of them. And they're talking about one Guyana. Boy, send someone to see the mental institute. Those patients are naked as they're born without no clue. I believe they're going to do them what they've done in Jamdo was in power before. A lot of them die and nobody can get how they die. I think it's totally advantage. We have to come out and protest and stand up for the rights of our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Advantage. If you know Wood, he's from Buxton, ask him. He was one who was building that school. The school was named by a Buxtonian education minister woman, Winifred Gaskin. All right, Kadaki, I'm going to call you back. Bye.
Thank you for your call. Call on.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Kadaki and the listening viewers here in Guyana, the diaspora around the world. Mr. Kadaki, I can't express my feeling when I see this line and this fighting with all people especially. And it bleeds my heart. You know what? These people say they're not corrupt. They say they're not racist. Like you mentioned the word, and I'm not seeing Indian people going through these things. And the writing is on the wall. Aren't we now waking up? We now waking up? You could imagine if they have an airborne disease to struck Guyana, what would happen to us? If there is an airborne disease, you don't know how these people wicked, stink, and dirty. If that is the reason why they got black people jumping on one another back in this day and age, oh my gracious, what is it going on with us? Our educator, these people ain't got feelings. What they're trying to prove that the country live in the will for them alone? Oh my gracious, king cutters, fishermen, and going through these things, and bigger portion money being doled out to them. Come on, we not seeing? Oh boy, it's sad. I don't know how to explain it, Mr. Kadaki. And if had it not been for this show, but still yet we're not getting it. We're not getting it. But they say God don't sleep. Because this guy from where his name Azada, where his name from that country that was exiled in Russia. He was powerful. And the PPP must take note. When our back against the wall, they don't tell yourself what could happen. It's just time. And for the black brothers and sisters who is backing them, I want to know they sleep at night. You have a blessed day, Mr. Kadaki. Be safe at all time and continue the show that edify the nation. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for your call. Before I play a voice note or I take the next call, I want to focus in, zoom in, as you see, on two things. The caller that called and spoke about the school allegedly being sold to his said two things I want you to pay attention to. Collusion it is alleged by this scholar that Mustafa, y'all know who's Mustafa? Mustafa is the agri minister, if I remember clearly. Oh, that's in there. Who is who? I think Mustafa is agri, yes. Right? Had his colleague or his court, his friend, whoever, go on television and say there are only 90 students attending that particular school. Right. Mustafa is agriculture. Because there was the argument. If it's only 90 students attending that school, then there's no need for a school. Because I think the law might say what the minimum population of a school is, dependent on the grade of the school and all of that. So if only 90 students are attending that school, let's announce it to the country, to the world, that only 90 students are attending that school, so it's justifying the closure of the school and the selling of the facilities. Note that. That is what she said. I didn't say. I'm only interpreting it for you. That's number one. Number two, the school was named for Winifred Gaskin. Who is Winifred Gaskin? She black, African Guyanese, educator par excellence. Is that it say? Way better minister of education than Prayer would ever dream to be, etc., etc. Who wants to preserve a building that has an African Guyanese name on it in our honor? Not Zulfikar Mustafa, nor the members of the PPP, the racist cabal. No, 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 no. If we're going to close any school and sell the premises, let's do it to this one. But the Chise Manchester, Colin, if you were there, remind me if you said Manchester. This school is supposed to be in Manchester Primary or Manchester Secondary, some school in Manchester there, right? Remember not so long ago I went to that area known as Lancaster, Manchester, Lancaster, Liverpool, Manchester. Where Zulfikar Mustafa is having a canal dug straight through the village. A hope-like canal. You all remember that? They say add 2 and 2, you go together and get 4. For me, when I see 2 and 2, I just add and I just end up at 6 and 10 and 12 and so on. Because maybe I'm using the multiplicative inverses and whatever I'm using. But I ended up at some fantastic figures that didn't give me 2 and 2, 4. So the same Zulfikar that is having a hope-like canal, or supposedly having a hope-like canal, dug through African Guyanese village in that area there, that local, Manchester, Liverpool, Lancaster. It is being alleged now that the same Zulfikar Mustafa is instrumental in having the school in that local closed and apparently sold off to his. Are we saying that Zulfikar Mustafa is on a campaign to decimate African Guyanese communities? And covet lands? He's from that local, nearby, somewhere nearby there, maybe women, so on or somewhere. They know the places. I don't. He know where he's from. He know how much farmlands he got. Or lands that he got that he didn't want that canal to pass through since it's deemed a necessity. But the place where it is most suitable for it to pass will affect lands that are allegedly owned by him. So he chose to put the canal through black people communities. And now I'm hearing that he was instrumental or is instrumental in shutting down and perhaps broken down and selling out a school that, number one, bore the name of an African Guyanese educator on it, and number two, African Guyanese students attended for their education. So Zulfikar Mustafa is on a campaign to marginalize black people. What campaign should black people have in response to Zulfikar? When Ipadeji had that discussion the other day about lands and the law that they were going to pass in Parliament to rob Guyanese of their lands, and more especially African Guyanese of their ancestral land, I remember one person asking the question, the PPP has a plan for black people. What plan black people have for the PPP? What plan you have for Mustafa? It's good enough to highlight these things. It's good enough to publicize them. But is that where it stops? Is that where it should stop?
Karaki, blessings and good morning to you and our listeners. Karaki, I want to wish CAMS TV and you a productive and a prosperous 2025. Karaki, and you doing a wonderful job, my brother. Because for you to be on this airwave day after day, the only time you'd already be on the airwave is like on Saturdays and Sunday. Karaki, I commend you, my brother. And your reward will be great. Stay strong and stay fighting. Karaki, my contribution this morning, I just want to urge the Guyanese.
Call us, stay on the line, please. We're playing a voice note. Okay?
Yeah.
Population that the PPP doesn't really have the inches at heart. If the PPP has the inches at heart, that pocket change that they have, people in the hot sun, old people lining up and fainting and all these kind of things. Karaki in 2024, them thing is colonial treatment. I guess 95% of the Guyanese population have a bank account. So why they couldn't put that money in people's bank account and save them all that stress and mental? Karaki, them people is no good. No good intention. And the Guyanese people, they can't say that they want good and have the PPP there. So come 2025, when that election call, well, they know what they have to do. Karaki, you have a blessed day, my brother, and keep fighting the damn good fight. I am out.
Thank you for that voice note. The voice note said my reward will be great. I hope he's not one of them persons who believe that my reward will be in heaven. I want my reward on earth. Call your life.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Season's greetings. I am appalled. And why I'm appalled to see the various lines people have to line up to get that paltry $100,000 so-called cash grant. The elderly have to be fighting around themselves. What is happening in Guyana? Guyanese are treated, the majority of Guyanese are treated like third-class citizens in their own country. I am so saddened. I am so saddened. What is happening? Why don't the opposition exclude the WPA, the AFC, the PNCR? Why don't they get together and get the people to go out there and protest? Why Guyanese got to be treated in that manner?
Why? I would like to see where the so-called PPP strongholds, if that's the same thing goes on there. Oh my God, I could, if anybody had told me years ago Guyana would be like this, I would say, Guyana don't have 1 million people. They don't have 1 million people. When they were giving out grants, not 500,000, not 500 US, 1,200 US over here. The money went to your bank account. And if you don't have a bank account, they sent it later with ATM card. So why can the government do better than treating their own citizens like that? It's ridiculous. I am saddened for my people.
Good morning, morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, neighbor, morning. Morning, are you morning? Welcome to another program of Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kidaki Amsterdam. It is 7 hours 48 on the 31st day. The last day, the final day of December 2024. It's the eve of New Year. Not New Year's, New Year. It's the eve of New Year. How are you been? How was yesterday? How was last night? Oh, you get up this morning. Which side of the bed you get up from? If I tell you all the truth, you won't believe me. I don't know. But you all don't need to know, I don't. Oh, Lord. Morning. What have you been able to achieve yesterday? I hope you're sticking with those smart goals that you've set. And you have really been working to get them achieved, accomplished. You see, making a plan is one thing. Executing it is another. And so I'm encouraging you, don't just make plans, execute. I know it is custom today, into tonight, into 12 o'clock midnight, into early morning tomorrow, maybe for the rest of the new week and new year, people are going to be talking about resolutions. What are your resolutions for the new year? I don't think I've ever, well, don't let me say I've never. I perhaps have made resolutions over the years. But in my head, there's one simple resolution that we need, and that is to be the better version of ourselves and to continue to strive to improve, increase our worth in society and improve the society in which we live. We got all of them fancy resolution, man. And all them fancy resolution. Just do what you know you ought to do for yourself and humanity. And nothing can go wrong. You can get it right. But all those of you who are into making resolutions, I hope you're resolving to really fight to make Guyana a better place for its citizens. That is on the top of my list. Guyana must become a better place for its citizens. And whatever obstacles are in the way, we have to move them. Just came to mind. A good Christian song I've heard all through the days of my life. This mountain shall be removed. Right? We got a mountain in the PPP and we gotta remove them. Yeah. We have to remove the PPP from power because they represent a mountain, a serious mountain, a serious hindrance, a serious blockage in the path of real national development in the path of citizens really enjoying their patrimonies, and definitely in the path of African Guyanese accomplishing all they can accomplish and being the best that they can be. The PPP represents that mountain, and we shall move it. And the mountain is moving by no prayer. Prayer might be one of the ways, one of the tools. But I don't see the mountain moving by prayer alone. Let's say prayer without works is dead. Or is it faith without works is dead? However way you want to put it, don't tell me, but we're going to pray on them. Unless it's PRUI. Unless it's PRUI. Because I think, quite frankly, sometimes you have to make situations and circumstances, you pray on them. Watch them like the eagles. Watch their every move and skin them up. Pray on the frailties as human beings. As they certainly praying as yours and ours. We have to do all that is absolutely necessary. By any means necessary. To change the electoral machinery in this country, to guarantee our citizens free, fair, and credible elections. And I'm positive that once the elections are free, fair, and credible in this country, the PPP will be removed from office. I have no doubt on that. I think there are enough frustrated and fed up Guyanese to want to see the backs of the PPP. I think there are enough of us who have had enough of the PPP. Big my friend like he clear up by like looking for things that I can't find. Anyways, right, so as we prepare to enter into the new year, let us take a new approach to dealing with the PPP and their wickedness. We got that call yesterday about what is happening in Manchester. I have to ask myself, what are the residents of that community doing, or that local? Yes, many people become aware of what is happening in their locale after the fact. If, as it is said, that school was sold, most likely the residents became aware that the school was sold after it was sold. But I'm saying it this morning, and I'm saying it without fear. Because a coward dies 1,000 deaths. And so when you can, as I would say, confront death and not be afraid of dying, I think it's the time when you embrace your peace. And I'm saying this. I've heard it said when the PPP was in opposition that any deal the coalition made with business people, etc., they were going to reverse it. They were going to reverse it. And true to form, when the PPP went into office, they tried to reverse a lot of land acquisitions and so on that were done under the coalition. Savon's Waste Management and businesses like those that got land, I think, on the back road, they had a hell of a time to hold on to those lands. Eventually, they were allowed to keep the lands, I think, or some portions of the lands that were allocated to them. And the rest of the land, if you go down the Mandela, if you go down Mandela there, you're going to see all of this spanking new development, construction, businesses established there, most likely by the PPP friends and cronies. Right? But what I'm pointing out is that in opposition, they promised to reverse actions taken by the previous government that they disliked. And so why is it we are not giving our people assurances that, for example, the lands that were taken away from the people at Mocha, the Caneville lands or Caneview, no stones will be left unturned to make it right for those people. Why aren't we giving our people that assurances? Why aren't we telling our people that no stones will be left unturned to ensure that there is a school in Manchester? And so whoever believes that they can buy the assets might have a rude awakening, because we are going to go after them to reclaim it. Why aren't we giving our people assurances that business licenses that have been taken away from them by the PPP will be restored, and so that they can continue to benefit from the offerings of this economy? Why aren't we? Because we are afraid that if we say those things, the international community will look at us as terrorists and as extremists and will not support us for the next government. I am just assuming, because, well, to some extent I might have heard such utterances. Well, I've said it here and I'm saying it again. I pray for the day I'm empowered as a member of any government, because I would like to really examine the acquisition by a lot of these persons. Let me tell you up front, you see the old Seaward Front, the old Kingston Seaward Front there? Where all of those big kiosks, or whatever you want to call them, those fancy constructions took place, and friends and family and favorite and big shots connected to the PPP are operating businesses out there, and the people who started that roadside hustle, let me call it that, are forced down the line, and they're continuously being forced down the line. Check. I want you all to pay keen attention how those people are continuously being marginalized, because they're pushing them further east all the time. Right now, they're over Camp Street and they're going towards Kitty Pump Station side. I see that as a low-hanging fruit. And once empowered, I would want to dig deep into the acquisition of those vending spots, let me call them that, those commercial spaces. How is it these things were constructed, whose money constructed them? By what authority they were constructed as permanent structures? What system was used to allocate them to the people who now operate them? Are these leases or are these long-term, what do you call them, tenancy arrangements? I want to know these things. Because when people say, want to measure right, must measure over. And it is time our politicians start to give our people assurances, something to hope for, something to work towards. That when we have political power, we will seek to balance the scale. Because, quite frankly, I believe the scale is so tilted. You ever play Caesar? You got a 400-pound human being at one end and you got a 120-pound human being at the other. Sometimes you got to put 3 or 4 of those on the next end to balance the seesaw. Scale and weight. This society operates with too much imbalance. And our politicians, our political activists, our social activists must be determined. They must make a resolution, man. Yeah, I like to talk about resolution. To right the wrongs in this society. When Quentin Bacchus was murdered, and the relatives and friends and conscientious people from Upper East Coast, well, I hope it's Upper, Golden Grove, and surrounding communities decided that they were going to march on the city to demand justice for Quentin Bacchus. There were some unfortunate events in the vicinity of Monipo Market. There was looting. There was destruction of property. There was some amount of upheaval, if you can call it that. I'm not here to analyze who caused what at this time. That analysis has been done 1,000,000 times. But injury took place as a result of what happened. And it is not necessarily physical injury, it's financial injury and psychological injury and so on and so forth. Injury took place. And the presidents left immediately from the seat of governance in Georgetown and came to Monipo and immediately thought in his mind to right the wrongs. Immediately sought to right the wrongs. He assured his people, y'all gonna be well, don't worry the 100,000, don't worry the $20,000 Polaroid that you lost. You can get millions. Don't worry them 2 rotten bango that you lost, you can get millions. And true to form, the PPP doled out the nation's money to the people that looked like them on the greater part at Monipo Market. Pass there now and you will see what that unfortunate event did, what a catalyst it was for the friends and families and cronies and supporters of the PPP at Monipo. The lady that is selling to Puri and wherever in a glass case. Go find out who she was and ask where her business is now. The roti and Puri shop that he cooking on fireside, and that what we like say broke down fence and so on and so forth. Go and check it out now. Check out all the businesses in that local there and see how they have moved from where they were and where they are now. Because what? They were giving assurances. Y'all don't worry, man, everything gonna be all right. And action was taken. They were giving the states money as recompense for the minimal losses. They were giving maximum compensation. I see Renee saying you don't have to tell people everything you're doing, but you just act when you get power. Some people need assurances to give you that power. And that is why when man's human, they just promise them the moon and the stars, and they're going to swim the dry Demerara River and all the promises. Call it fair promises, call it what you want. But they lay out before that woman in courtship what their intentions are, whether or not it is pure in heart or they know that they're being deceptive. Do in favor you want me to address you by your government name? Jackass, Kono Mono, Longera, Nemakaram. You want me to call you by all of your government names this morning? Because you're coming here with your old stereotype. Black man don't overmanage money. Black man this, black man that. Black man are like work. Black man away from black man is banker. Now you're talking about brand name clothes and Jordans. People are entitled to their choices. People are entitled to their choices. You want to tell you what others do that black man don't do? Kill one another for inheritance. Murder one another for what belongs to them. Just recently I read of an Indo-Guyanese husband and wife, or man and woman, murdering the landlord. The side of you in favor, you put it up on social media and say, black people don't do that. You didn't do that, but you're coming here to tell us what coolie people don't do. Not so long ago, 3 of them were in the news for embezzlement. You didn't put up and say, black man don't do that. But you come here to tell me what coolie people don't do. Why you don't kiss my black ass this good morning? Why don't you? Because obviously you're an ass kisser. But it seems that only them big boys who you could get a crumb off of the table from, you could kiss the ass. I want you to kiss the ass of the common citizen in this country. What truth really hurts? Where is the truth in that? It is a misconception which hurts. It is the misconception which hurts. I can tell you stories to prove that black people are so much more than y'all try to make them out to be. But let me return to regular programming. People need assurances. You don't have to give them the blueprint of how you're going to do what you promised to do. But you can give them assurance or an indication of what you intend to do. I intend to right the wrongs, man. I intend to right the wrongs. I want our politicians to show our people that they will right the wrongs. I want our elderly citizens, our pensioners to be assured that never again will they be made to stand up in the lines like they did yesterday and they will do in many days to come to collect $100,000 pittance, a less than $500 pittance. And I'm saying, granted the power, I will ensure that that never happens again. Because there are systems in place by which these elders can get their money quietly and peacefully without putting their health and well-being at risk. But it will only happen. It will only happen when you have people who have a love for humanity in charge of the things which concern the elderly and the other citizens of this country. So yes, they were not the money report and give them big money for Polari and so on. Big money which they knew or expect or wanted to give them in the first place to develop businesses, improve businesses, expand businesses. That's one of the things Faber didn't know, or Faber pretends not to know. Not that they don't wear brand name or they didn't buy brand name and so on and so forth, but they were gifted the state's money. They were gifted the state's money to improve their livelihood. In the meanwhile, Afro-Guyanese are being robbed, bullied. The assets are being taken away, assets that they can otherwise use as a source of collateral to access capital to improve their lot. Those things are being denied. And when they're not being denied, they're being taken away through fair or unfair means. And so the same issue that gave rise to the protest that caused the unfortunate situation at Monopo and gave the government the opportunity to dole out taxpayers' money to their supporters also gave rise to a court matter where the state was sued for the wrongful death of Queen Bacchus. And the court awarded the family of Queen Bacchus some money. The state found that the courts found that the state was involved in the unlawful killing, the murder of Queen Bacchus. And so financial award was given, an award which, you know, from the time I heard it, I said that crap is inadequate. What is the life of a black man cost? What is the life of a black man value? How much does a black man's life cost? How much could be paid for the life of a black man? My argument then and now is that was it $24 million, perhaps? It's woefully inadequate. And one would believe that the PPP would have accepted that they got a gift from the court, in that the damages awarded to the Bacchus family was not in the hundreds of millions of dollars, one would believe that the PPP would have been happy that they got a gift, a proverbial gift in that ruling. But no, in the eyes of Anil Nandlal and the rest of the PPP goons and criminals, no black man's life is worth that award by the court. No black man's life is worth that award by the court. Black man is the cheapest thing to be bought in this Guyanese economy nowadays. And so we're going to appeal the ruling. We will appeal the ruling. The courts have no right. There's no grounds on which the court can award the surviving relatives, family members, parents, whoever, of Quentin Bacchus that amount of money. What? You dare give black people that amount of money? Polori are more valued than them than life because Polori is black. And so they plan to appeal the ruling to challenge the award. If you can't recognize the hatred that this PPP cabal got for black people through these actions, then I have not an inkling of an idea of what will help you to recognize it. Because of the court's award and the court's judgment in the matter of Auntie Vashti and the others on his bank there, Anil Nandlal took a bill to Parliament. The AG took a bill to Parliament to say, in future, the minister will determine the value of their lands. And the minister will decide who have rightful claim to these lands. No black man ain't got that right. In response to the court's ruling on the wrongful death of Quentin Bacchus, the AG again is to go to court and say, hey, no black man ain't deserve that kind of money for their life. You want me on a long list of such doings of this PPP government when it comes to black people and black people's interests? They got a whole long list out there. I ain't got time for it. It's 20 minutes past the 8 o'clock hour already. When it came to the DPP advising on charges to be laid, note how quickly she responds when is black people got to be charged. Black people's cases are always cut and dry, as they say. Since you watch it, you know they're guilty, charge them for murder. Charge them for this, charge them for that. I've sat quietly over the weeks or perhaps month now, when allegations were flying left, right, and center about a Strasbourg businessman murdering what many people considered a vagrant. I didn't comment on that issue because I was saying, let the law take its course. Let us not jump to judgment. I know the businessman personally. We've rubbed shoulders from my teen years. Personally, I know. He has always been able to come and go in this village freely because many of us in this village consider him friend from school days. So I said, hey, leave that alone. Don't touch it. Watch and see where it goes, because yes, he's a businessman. Yes, he stores his, yes, he keeps his stuff in the yard. Yes, his yard is fenced. And if I were in a position where somebody comes into my yard to steal my things, and I, in the interest of protecting my premises and my own life, etc., have to shoot them, so be it. But the details weren't forthcoming. But then recently, more information got into the public. Information that suggests that his so-called thief, the vagrant, etc., was shot outside of the yard. Outside of the yard, ain't you right to shoot nobody. The DPP should know that. Because outside of your yard, that person doesn't represent a threat to your life. And that is the most important consideration. According to the reports, there's evidence to suggest that the body was moved around and all of that. As a matter of fact, the news of that shooting became public with allegations of the police at vigilance attempting to cover up a murder. But remember, he's a black man, it's the life of a black man we're talking about. The DPP advised the police that the businessman should be charged. But guess what? Within hours of issuing that advice, the DPP withdrew the advice and asked for additional information. Can you remember several other cases like that? Huh? Can you remember several other cases like that? So, y'all pay attention to what happens when the life and livelihood of African Guyanese have to be pronounced upon by the PPP, and look at their actions, and you determine for yourselves. You determine for yourselves. Whether or not the PPP and their friends, family, and favorites have respect first and foremost for Black lives. Do Black lives really matter in this country? Whether or not they have respect for the rights of African Guyanese as citizens of this country, as freed citizens of this country? Or is it true that they see themselves as the new slave masters, and our people are still enslaved, chattel, only with a different method. Ask yourselves that. Look at their actions and conclude. I'm going to say this. My ancestors, they fought blood, sweat, and tears to regain their freedom from enslavement. And if I have to fight blood, sweat, and tears in this era to prevent being re-enslaved or my next generation being re-enslaved, I'm ready. I'm ready to give assurances to my people that I am prepared to do what is absolutely necessary to keep us out of slavery, to balance the scale, to right the wrongs. And I'm going to say this to you. If those that aspire to climb the ladder of political success can't give you those assurances, you have a right to determine what you will do with your votes. You have a right to determine that. Your vote is of value. Your vote is of tremendous value. And you have to demand value for your vote. So even me, all those of us who are out there saying we political this, we representing that, let us know there's a price to pay for that vote. The PPP knows that. You know why the PPP knows that and what they do? You know what they do? They attempt to buy that vote from our black Afro-Guyanese men and women. They try to buy that vote from our young Afro-Guyanese men and women. They're making them gutter contractors. Gutter contractors. Hey, Buxton is awash with gutter contractors right now. Everywhere you turn, you see a gutter contractor in Buxton. And they're all smiling faces. But who's taking the moment to tell them, hey, we know you have to earn. We know this is your opportunity to earn. We know this is all they're giving you to earn from. But don't be comforted by this. You deserve better. You deserve more. When we get into the seat of power, we are going to make you better than gutter contractors. Because it will appear when you look across this country, only gutter black people could clean. Only gutter contracts black people could get. And for every $1 million gutter contract that a black man gets, a coolie man gets $500 million in road and bridge contract and building contract. Who is taking the time to explain that to our young African Guyanese men and women? That, hey, we know you're right. We know you're right. There's dignity in labor. But there's also unfair employment practices. And so we're not sending you to clean gutter. Maybe in the name of beautifying your community. Look and see who they are sending into your community. They get you $100 million and $500 million contracts. And see if you're going to continue smiling while cleaning a gutter. Education is supposed to change attitude, but the question is anybody taking the time to educate our people? Are we just leaving them out there to fall victims, prey to PPP government that is hell-bent on destroying the African man in this country? You think it's Mustafa alone in the PPP involved in the plan to dig a canal straight through Black people community? You think it's Mustafa alone in the PPP involved in the plan to sell the school in the African Guyanese community to Hess? You think it's Sitara Gyal alone involved in the decision to make the majority African Guyanese teachers stand up in the sun and demean themselves, get angry with each other to collect a less than $500 check? You think it's Vindya Prasad alone at the Ministry of Social Services decide that old age pensioners must stand up in the sun and NIS pensioners must stand up in the sun and so on and so forth, as elderly as they are, to put their lives, their well-being, their health at risk to collect a less than $500 US check? I'm going to leave you with the words of Charan Das, because those words are instructional. And just as how they took the no confidence vote to benefit them, I think they took that advice to benefit them. Pay the pensioners more, old age and NIS pensioners, because they ain't going to live long anyhow to collect the money. So put them out in the Sunday to collect the grants. Ensure that you kill enough of them through the extra exposure to sun and stress, because enough of them going to end up with stroke, heart attack, and all kinds of maladies that are going to kill them within a short time. And so you ain't have to cater for them in the social services for too long. The more old age pensioners and NIS pensioners and elderly people we could get rid of through this cash grant, is better for us. The state will have to pay out less money through social services or even through that contributory pensions scheme. The lines are open. 6225933 is the number to call. 6225933 is the number to call. What's the price for a black man? What is the value of a black man's life? Definitely not enough. Or definitely, according to the courts, or according to Anil Nanlal, the AG and so on, too much is awarded by the courts.
In Guyana, happy last day of 2024, Flags Garden, saying to all of you, love. You represent the word of God this morning. Thank you very much. What did I represent, Flags Garden? When God said, well done, my beloved son, who I am well pleased. You know why God used those words? To us, it's because of what we said and what we done. And when you use the word that whatever it would take for you to do to keep us out of bondage and slavery, you will do it. Thank you very much for that. present myself this morning, if I may, when I use the word fire and smoke up in the air. You see, fire and smoke up in the air does come with protest. That's what God, you mean. You cannot protest alone without fire and test. You will not get victory. Let me take you back to the small country that the Guyana couple weeks ago. That a country, a little country, Caribbean, they were protesting for what Flash Garden, for cancer living. With fire and smoke, I see the building, I see the news from Guyana come out of Guyana. And the government come to the table. But the news said that the people tell government, no, you got to come more better. Explanation, like if they said, okay, I will give you guys 5%. They said, no, we want 10%. Because we know you could give us 10%. The same Manjipo story talking about. There was fire and smoke there. The black, the Cody woman, the Cody girl, she said, pour more gas. If you could check back the video, see Flash Garden line. Pour more gas. Upon what? Not on water. It's on fire and smoke. But pour more gas, let black man punish for it. Let black man go to jail for it. Go back again. In 2020, election problem, better hope. What fire and smoke on the street for hours. Only believe in fire and smoke. Black man never believe in fire and smoke. But get yourself out of the hands of bondage and slavery. Guyana is under slavery again. There's no doubt about it. And for take yourself out of slavery, you got to do what God did. When Samson asked God to restore back his strength, he could do something to bring peace. But God did not say no. God gave it to him. Are you still here?
Yes.
God gave it to him. Because if God did not give it to him, he would say, God, you killed Pharaoh's son. Are you telling me no? But God gave it to him for stop the nonsense. Little, figure yourself, my black brother and sister. Little David, shepherd boy, for stop that big strong man. Let me ask the question. What a big strong man name in the Bible towards David? Who David challenged? Can you remember?
Is me asking?
Yes, you understand the man?
Somebody named Goliath or something?
Good. What he was doing, harassing the village, punishing the people in the village, and what David asked God for. David did not ask God for voice. He said, God, guide me. Let me be the one for take him down and bring peace in that village. Peace in that village income by only listening program and talk and fight. And David pray and ask God, put extra power on the stone, guide the stone. Let me bring peace in this village. And God did it. So black people was like God is saying for the last day. For you to get peace and get yourself out of bondage and slavery, you got to go out and fight. God will be with you. God leave this thing for us, that we could take ourselves out of slavery and bondage. We're not supposed to go back there. Come 2025, the 15th of January, God wants all black men to stand up and fight and put fire and smoke up in the air. The Chief Justice tells Flash Garden alone in court and in the 2020, because nobody else don't talk about it. To tell Flash Garden, a black man, what good for the goose is good for the gander. If it was good for black people then, it was good for people now. Fire and smoke, that's the only way we will fight and win. Our ancestor, we always talk about our ancestor, but we don't represent our ancestor legacy and what they stand for. They're fighting, some dead, some alive, but they have to fight for that freedom. We are not fighting. We only depending for listening to, and this program them is getting my black brother and sister lazy and don't want to do what they have to do for be the edge of the family. And them And the parents and grandparents and neighbors, because God said love your neighbors. I do hope come January 15 that God will see change with the word protest, with the word demand, with the word sacrifice, and the word fire and smoke. You have a lovely night tonight. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for your call. It's funny that Flash say have a lovely night tonight. They're going to tell you what is planned for tonight for people to have a lovely night. A bird had whispered to me that the president is going to be at the Lusignan Community Center ground tonight. They said a man going to dress up in a Michael Jackson suit and go to Lusignan Community Center going to address officials of the neighborhood democratic councils appointing the name of the PPP. That's the right of the president, man, to address whoever he wants. But you know what is wrong? Using the NDC resources for the PPP's campaign. And so the president is hosting this event, or at least so they say. But the neighborhood democratic councils are expected to pay for it. That is a misuse of state's fund for political campaigning. I want you all to be aware of that. If you all don't believe me, so nobody losing now going tonight and see what I'm. Call us alive.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Skidaki Amsterdam and to all the Commons viewership. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, and my own was down because up to now the housing do not near the worst thing but the place in fix anyway, moving along. I pray that as we go forward into 2025, we go forward with a zeal of starting anew by that, working very hard because this is the election year to have a government in power who will be a government to all and sundry in Guyana. A government that will be using our national motto of one people, one nation, one destiny, and everybody will be in the one basket as a nation of Guyana. And that all the wrongs will be righted. Moving along. Now I listen to the story of the school, I think it is in Manchester, that has been sold off to this place. Now, PPP install regime, they tried from 1992 until when they were in power and when they overthrew the party by a coup to regain power again, to destroy all that was there that the African people did in this country. We know Winifred Gaskin, an educator. So I don't see why a school could not have been named after her for a sterling contribution in the line of education. Those teachers were teachers who did it all to produce stalwarts in this country, and many of those students are even bright stars in other countries where they go, for greener pastures. Now, the other thing with the Queendom Bacchus, you see, the CCJ is a court that I feel when we get into power, we should remove ourselves from the CCJ, because the CCJ is always up against that which is right for the people of African descent. The only time the CCJ they allow an African to dominate the sphere in the CCJ was the wicked woman when she used that what the CCJ said not to use to put a party in. And if the CCJ was a proper law-abiding place, they would have stood up and debarred that woman for flouting the order of the CCJ. Later down, we got down to when Winseed put out a thing from the CCJ that the CCJ should have been putting out in the public domain. When Winseed was confronted, Winseed told the world that his social media device, his device was being hacked. But when a simple person like me, the court brought it out that my device was being hacked to cause me to pay all the money in a cybercrime law that the magistrate herself said I could not have been charged that. It suddenly came back where I was charged and being made to pay an astronomical sum to this regime. But I know because they had slated me at the starting of that case as a political activist. Now with this cash grant, one of my good friends who does bear me out of financial problems through the years, good friend, called me yesterday around 10 something or 11 o'clock. She said, Rhonda, you don't say yes. She said, you don't forget. I said, hello, stop. I said, I don't run into crowds. Now, many persons, I don't, people might come at me, I don't care. We have got to stand our grounds. You know what me parents used to say? You're poor, but you mustn't let people see your poverty. And many of those persons who gone out there and making the self thing to get the 100,000 and they know to boot, and if they get the check, they ain't gonna get it right away. Should have allowed that thing to cool off. When they go and they do things like that, there is where the installed regime takes it and use it as a whiplash in their faces. And people have got to understand the nature of the beast they are dealing with. When they had to register, everybody came at me. I say, here, me got time ago. Eventually, when I went to collect my book at Lenore, my NIS book, when I got there, I got to register the KRS and whole thing. They had nobody. They had about 5 persons. I got you with the registration faster than I got you with my pension book. And people got to stand up in the face. Don't matter you're that bad or you think you're that bad. You got to make your mind to show people that don't matter how your poverty stricken, you make certain that your petticoat, and if it's all at the top, the lace must tuck onto the bottom of the slip, that in case your dress fling up, they must see the rich embroidered lace and study what they're over the lace. But you know that above the lace is threadbare. And if people don't make up the mind, they will always lash the African people and reducing them to worse than when we were slaves. Not run the lane. I try for betterment. I don't walk with me poverty and let people see to tell me. I know what I know, and I walk with my head high up in the air, and I demand a certain respect. And I feel that all Africans who want to be called Africans go back to their root and see that we are a proud people, a strong people. Once you get to your roots and you know from who you came, from whence you came, you will have a place where you know you will be going, and you will never allow the PPP installed regime to ride you in the mud, like how the woman rode the pure pony in the mud, and she stood up and she said, I would not lend my pony now for all the ladies higher. We have got to adjust that. And with Quindon Bacchus' story, I feel we got to fight that Quindon Bacchus must be fully well. You can't buy a life, but his family must be compensated for his death. And I want Oren Boston and all the others who have lost their children and their relatives in this regime to the type of life to take up and enter the court for some form of financial empowerment for the lives lost. And I think those 19 girls who lost their lives in the Maja fire, they should have had a committee by now that could have gone and revoked the $3 and $5 million paid for the lives of those girls being lost in the fire. Happy 2025, and the protesters out there, we have a lot of work to do. Come 2025, stop being a protester on the phone and come out in your numbers and let us protest at GCOM. We done here. The woman saying that if you got grease on your finger, you can't do proper arm thing. Let me tell you out there, that is one day when Guyver and all over us be working. And if GCOM know that about people will be coming with grease on the finger, GCOM got the money. Let them provide so there is water so that each voter could go and wash their hands before going in to cast the ballots, so we can do biometrics and whatever we have to see who is the voter. Bye-bye.
Thank you for your call. It's 7 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour. You're tuned to the Guyanese Morning Time. I am your host, Kiraki Amsterdam. I'm going to play a few voice notes. Y'all please give me a chance to do that. Caller, you on. Good morning. Caller, you on. Good morning.
Good morning, Gadati.
Good morning.
Gadati, I think we as opposition, we need to do, the opposition leader is supposed to do more. Far more than what they are doing. Our opposition leader, he mentioned that all people know is pressure. And what you have to do, you have to hit the streets and protest all over. People, I have a lot of friends in Linden, they say the leader frightened lock up. You know, and I won't disagree with them. As a leader, you can't look at lock up. You got to be strong. Look at you. Look at you. You spent 72 hours there. You came out and you're still doing the same thing. Look at Tukumu Gunse. You get locked up, you come out and you're still doing the same thing. Look, Mark Benchap. Mark Benchap spent 5 years. Get locked up for 5 years, and what you're doing is still doing the same thing. So we have to be strong as opposition. You can't sit down and waiting on international community and all them kind of nonsense that we have a fight our one battle. And I heard you mention something this morning, and I agree with what you're saying. Yes, we pray, but we got to get prayer with action. You can't just pray alone and depend on prayers alone. We have to act. We got to come out by numbers every day. Not on Tuesday alone, a few people there out at GCOM. The opposition leader either be at GCOM on Tuesday stuff. They got to come out every day and protest these people. We got to start now. Don't care how you talk. These people still doing the same thing. Don't care how you talk. They're still doing the same. So we got to come out and pressure these people, and we got to start from the leaders. Our leaders got to come together. And notice that times, them guys ready, but we not seeing the AFC doing nothing. We have to come together. Who we waiting for? We have to come together and fight these people. These people be able to keep this country belongs to them alone. This country belongs to all of us. We are 6 races in this country. If it wasn't for our ancestors, we would not have had a Guyana. So that our leaders got to get up and get, man. I don't know what they're waiting for. We got to get up and get. Thanks for listening to me, Gadati. That is my take.
Thank you for your call.
Everybody, Gadaki, morning, viewers. Morning, Guyanese. Merry Christmas, all Guyanese. Guyanese, let me tell you something. You see, all who hate black people, all who don't have respect for black people, only respect our money, and you're seeing it this point in time, you know, man. You're seeing it this point in time. Let me show you something who don't respect black people in this country. Christmas is is like the birth of Christ. You know, man, we celebrating the birth of Christ. You understand me? You understand me? And if you don't have God in your heart, if you don't respect African people, you don't respect God, buddy, because God is a black man. And we say so. The white man says so. You understand me? Now, all who tramp upon African people and celebrating African people holiday at this point in time, yo, y'all are some Judas. Y'all are Judas to us. Y'all are demons to us. You understand me? Y'all only want we money. Y'all only want to be working, y'all want we money. Y'all don't want to be surviving, y'all want we money. Y'all want to become a spend we money by y'all. You understand me? Y'all want to become a spend we money by y'all. You understand me? That's how y'all just have us throughout the year and come out at this point in time. It has been like y'all love free. But we know y'all don't have love free. Y'all have love for money. Y'all love money. Money is your God. You understand me? And I call in on all the racial ones them in this country who don't love black people. I'm talking about all Indian people. Some of us, some of our own and others speaking about. Who trying to marginalize on African people in this country. God is a black man. And all of y'all came from us. God create us first. You understand me? And all of the rest of y'all come from us. Not me say so. The white man says so. You understand me? So y'all put it in the back of your head. You understand me? Let's sink in. Let's sink in. You understand me? Let's sink in. Let's sink way down in.
Ducky, good morning. Listening to your program this morning, this canal that these PPP, Joseph Mosifo, and others wanted to dig through black people area. Mr. Kadaki, they feel it wouldn't take a psychological effect on the Indians. It will affect the Indians. If they're breaking down the schools, so and so the schools in black people area, you think it would affect the Indians? It will affect the Indians. But what I'm saying, come 2025, black people, open our eyes, and get PPP out of power. Now, one black people going through to know right now. Minke, they will have me money at the region, they my gratuity because why? I speak out of the wrongdoing with the mock exam. There's a lot of things black people going through, but I wanted to. When I come to tongue, I'm going to sit and give we all everything live and direct. These PPP people doing a lot of things, and you see Mia Motley and Keith Rowley and Ralph Gonzalez. God be with them. Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Amsterdam. Good morning, viewers. I want the Guyanese people to look around and ask themselves if they want to live in a country with chaos and confusion. And the Guyanese citizens have to make that decision whenever they have election in Guyana, if they want to continue living the way they're living. When you look at the video where the elderly people have to collect that $100,000 cash grant, it is a sad situation. And Guyanese have to get up and get. The coalition have to make sure that they go into the communities, meet the people, and give them that assurance that when they take government, they will try to make their lives better. Guyanese in a serious trouble. Serious trouble. And Mr. Amsterdam, I did hear Mr. North mention a few times, whenever the coalition take office, they're going to make sure that those lands are returned back to people that was taken away. Mr. Amsterdam, I just want to wish you all the best for the new year. That's my take for today. Bye.
Thank you for that voice note. It's now a minute past the 9 o'clock hour, and it is time for me to wrap the program. I don't think there's another voice note, right? All of the voice notes have been played, and it's time for me to go. Yeah, so y'all have a good one. Tomorrow is New Year's Day. I am not likely to be on. I have to take care of myself. So y'all have a wonderful New Year. Those of you looking for some place to go tonight, you can come down to Club Twilight and let's hang a bit. I'm thinking we're gonna do some cook up chicken and thing, chicken cook up and so on, and we're gonna eat and laugh and gaff into the new year and so on. So you're free to come join us. Right? Have a good one, be safe. Remember, we welcome your contributions if you choose to. If you don't choose to, we are thankful for that too. Have a good one. Catch you when I catch you in the new year. Blessings. Be safe. Much love. Oh, y'all want a New Year song? All right. Let's see if I find one for you. I don't know. Hold on, name something old acquaintance. I grew up hearing this song as a New Year song, and so we play this song. And so voice note a minute after. Alright, I'm gonna be nice and play the voice note. I hope it's for the program.
Good morning, Kadaki, and good morning to Guyana. Happy 2025. Kadaki, I'm calling concerning to Aubrey Norton. He just telegraphing, he shot and just saying that you're going to take it to court. The Christmas season gone. Yesterday, I was expect that they should file the case for Akins and still nothing are not doing. What Aubrey are doing? Is talk, you gonna talk all the time. You can't file a writ at the court to start his case. What he waiting on? Talking cannot think the man done swearing. You have to go to court and that's it. This 2025, you got to do better than that, than talking. You got to see action. Thank you. Happy New Year.
Yeah, folks, and so back to the music now. We were playing All Acquaintance with
forgot and never brought to mind. Should old acquaintance be forgot and old lang syne? For lang syne, my dear, for lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for lang syne. We two have run about the slopes and picked the daisies fine. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for lang syne. For lang syne, my dear, for lang syne. We'll take a cup of kindness yet for lang syne. Should old acquaintance be forgot and never brought to mind? sigh, falling sigh, my dear, falling sigh. Will you take a cup of kindness?